Hello everyone! I hope you're having a fabulous morning, afternoon, or night whenever you're watching this. Today I have a very exciting video. I have seen lots of people do this video, but I'm going to specifically do it the way that Sarah Caroli did it, so I'll have her video linked below. But basically, this video is Bookstagrammers Choose My TBR. So I do already have my TBR for the month, which you can go watch. But within that, and kind of also without that, there's lots of books in this video that were not technically on my TBR, but we don't have to talk about that. That's, you know, don't worry about that, guys. I gave each person, I think I picked 5 people, and I gave each one 2 books to choose from. And then I'm going to read them in this video, and I'm hoping that I'll read maybe some books that I was putting off or like just wasn't getting around to, and this will make me finally read them. I love reading books that other people feel really strongly about, so that's fun. And also maybe you guys will get to find some new accounts to follow, because these are all people that I really like to follow and are super sweet and super nice, so you should go and give them a follow. Okay? So I'm going to start off with one of my favorite accounts to follow, and that is Paige. Her Instagram is Paige and her books with 2 S's. I'll have everyone linked down below. But she kind of got the best options because she responded first. So she just got my like 2 out of the gate, which were the 2 most popular books probably in this video. Not really, there's a lot of popular books in here, but the options I gave her were Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber and Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, which I don't have a physical copy of. It's very long. I've seen the print is very tiny. I would rather just read it on my phone, so I was planning on buying it on my phone if she picked that one. But she sure did. She sure did. She picked Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, which I am so excited about. I did originally film this intro like 3 days ago, and so I have already started reading this, and I just didn't like how the intro was, so I'm redoing this. So I am over halfway through, and this is only my 2nd sitting, so I can already tell you that this is a very fast read. The margins are really big, the chapters are really short, and there's some chapters that are literally just like a page, like 3 sentences, and that's the end of the chapter. So it goes by really quick, and the font is really big, and it's very good. I do have one thing. This is going to be a spoiler-free vlog, so I'm not going to say too much. And Once Upon a Broken Heart is about, I know more about this because I've just read Caraval, as I've said 800 times. It's about Evangeline, who is in love with this boy who is marrying someone else, and she goes to meet the Prince of Hearts to make a deal with him to stop the wedding so she can win this boy back because she thinks he's been cursed, blah blah blah. So the Prince of Hearts is Jax, and he is a fate in this universe. I don't really know how to describe the fates. They're like if you're into mythology at all, I think that's the closest thing I could portray them as, is like the different gods and goddesses are the fates, so they each have a different thing. Jax is the Prince of Hearts. He has a lethal kiss, so if you kiss him you die, but everyone's like drawn to him, whatever. Basically you don't really want to make a deal with him, but she's desperate enough that she is going to make this deal with him, and that's kind of what this is about. So I'm over halfway through. I do have kind of like a bone to pick or something I really want to comment on about this book. Everyone says that you don't need to read Caraval. I don't agree with that. Jax I already know really well. Like has a pretty big presence in the 2nd and 3rd book. So even though I already kind of just have a soft spot for him from those books, and there's certain little things like on page 8, so this isn't a spoiler, I'm just, because if you read it you'll get to it right away, so I'm going to read a little piece of it. She goes to this church because she's trying to find Jax. So she goes to his church. It says, the Prince of Hearts' church held a different aroma for everyone who visited. It was supposed to smell like a person's greatest heartbreak. How cool, right? Okay, fine. She goes in and she's like, that must be a lie because it doesn't smell like Luke, the boy she loves, the loser boy that we're tossing. It smells like slightly sweet and metallic, apples and blood. If you've read Caraval, that's immediately Jax, okay? That's his signature. He cries blood and he always is eating apples. It sounds stupid, but it's actually, it's not stupid if you read it. But, and there's just like so many little things. Like I think he's being portrayed as such a villain in the beginning, but I don't see that at all because I don't feel like he was the villain in the Caraval, even though he was the villain. But like, I mean, he wasn't the villain, but like he was very morally gray, more on the gray, darker gray, you know what I'm saying? But I loved him. So I don't see him as the villain, and I just can't. So I wonder, I don't know, and there's so many little things. Like at one part there's a character that's described and I'm like, is that who I think it is?
Ariana, what are you doing here?
And then it ends up being that person. I knew who it was from Caraval. Like there's so many little bits and pieces that tie into this book that just like bring a little like giggle, a little like shot of happiness to me. I would say at least try it. And if you can't get into it and you really don't like it, fine, then just skip to this one. But try it. But yeah, anyways, things are getting really juicy. Like I'm on chapter 36. So if you know, you know what's happening right now. And it's juicy.
Don't know if I'm friend or foe, but I guess I'll come to find when it's time.
I literally get like just giddy when I see Jax's name pop up. And at this point, if you hadn't have read Caraval, he just straight up is a villain. Where is he?
Don't know if I'm friend or foe, but I guess I'll come to find when it's time. Shattered glass still shine when the sun is high.
Okay, so it's now the afternoon. It's like almost 3 o'clock. But I finished Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I did thoroughly enjoy this book. However, I'm gonna give it I almost gave it a 4. I might give it a 4. But I think I'm gonna give it 3.75. I just, you know when you go into a book thinking you know what's gonna happen or how it's gonna be, and then it's not that? That kind of happened. I thought it was gonna be more mature than it was. Like I feel like this is more YA than the Caraval trilogy was. And I don't know. I already know that the next book is gonna be my favorite book, and it's gonna be so good because it's gonna really get into Jax. This book kind of reminded me of the Cruel Prince trilogy, which I didn't enjoy, and I can't really tell you why. It just has a similar vibe. It's like kind of like a storybook feeling to it, but it's not going any deeper. I don't know. I'm kind of like, I literally feel like guilty. I'm like, oh no, everyone loves this book and I don't love it. I do love it. I don't know, like I can't even tell you why. Like I love Jax's character, I love Evangeline's character, I loved the storyline. I just think too many things happened that I thought were like kind of ridiculous, and if I had gone into it in the mood for that or thinking it was going to be that, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. But like the end of chapter 42 or something, when something happens to Jax, I was like, excuse me, that just there's no way that this is what is happening in the story. But yeah, I did overall really like it. Thank you so much, Paige, for picking this book. It's been on my TBR forever, and I went shopping yesterday and I got the second book, so I can jump right into the second book once I'm done filming this video. And I have really high hopes for the second book. Why is it doing this? My memory card is having severe issues and it's only letting me film for 2 minutes at a time. Okay, so we're gonna try and get through this next part quickly. So I always am reading a physical book and a book on my phone. So for one of the people, I asked her to pick a book from Kindle Unlimited for me. And I usually read these at night. Like if I stop reading this at 9 o'clock at night, I won't be able to fall asleep until at least 10:30 or 11. Like, just something about reading a physical book, it doesn't matter what the book is, even if it's boring. It just like wakes my brain up. But I fall asleep reading on my phone all the time. So I'm always reading 2 books at a time. Okay, so I asked Lenny for Kindle Unlimited book. Like, I gave her 2 books to pick. She is A Court of Random Book Quotes on Instagram. I love her account. She always posts these like quote dumps, and it always makes me want to read the book. She also reads a lot of books that I have never read or heard of, so I really like her account. And she is so sweet because, okay, I gave her 2 options. I gave her The Bribe by Devney Perry, which is the first book in the Calamity Montana series. I believe it's just like a contemporary romance, small town, southern country vibe. I think actually the female main character might be a celebrity of some sort. I don't know. Not sure about that. And then the other option I gave her was The Right Move, which is the second book in the Windy City series by Liz Tomford. This book is a basketball romance, and I believe it's fake dating and possibly forced proximity. But yeah, it's just a sports romance. And I just finished the first book of this series last night. This is literally a 32 gigabyte memory card. I don't know why it's only letting me record 2-minute clips and then saying that it's full. I don't know why, but we gotta go fast. Okay, so what did I say? I gave you an outline of the 2 books. Originally she said The Right Move. She hadn't read The Bribe, but she said she loved The Right Move. She loved Ryan. But then, like a few days later, she literally messaged me and she had read The Bribe just so she could give like a full informed choice, and she still said that The Right Move wins. She said that The Bribe is like borderline insta-love, which is my least favorite thing. So I'm glad we went with The Right Move, and I will be reading that. Usually at night I'll probably just read it and I'll keep you guys updated throughout the entire video, but I'm really excited for that, so thank you so much. And then we're gonna also pick a physical book. So I'm gonna go over to Lena. Her Instagram is My Overflowing TBR. She also posts about books that I have never heard of. A lot of fantasy books that I'm always adding to my TBR that looks so good from her account. So the 2 options I gave her were Shatter Me by Tahari Mafi, Shatter Me, and 6 of Crows. So for those of you that don't know, these are both very popular fantasy books. Shatter Me is about Juliet, who has a lethal touch. It's kind of dystopian. The reestablishment has taken over their world. I don't really know much else about it. 6 of Crows is in the same universe as Shadow and Bone, and it's about Kaz, Brecker. There's like found family, they do heists. I don't know much about this either. I did read Shadow and Bone. I DNF'd the second book and I didn't even try and read the third. So, oh my gosh, I think it's filming. I think it was stopping at 2:30 last time, and it's It's not stopping. I think it might be fixed. Do you guys see how fast I was just... No! It stopped at 2:45. Why?
Meet me on the street lights. Meet me where the lights fade out. Tell me what it feels like.
It is now like 8 o'clock at night. This book is so like just easy to read. You just fly through it. I have less than 100 pages left. I'm so torn because I could definitely read that in 2 hours. I could finish this tonight. But I also am enjoying it so much. I don't want it to be over. But it's also getting really good right now. Like, I just met Kenji and things are getting like action-y, which I love, but I don't even want to stop now. And I definitely will finish it tomorrow. The romance in this book between Adam and Juliet, I know I'm supposed to love it and her writing makes me like it, but it's feeling very insta-love to me, which is my, as I mentioned earlier in this video, my least favorite. I know that they like have known each other forever and they knew each other when they were kids, but like they didn't talk. They knew each other from afar, and it's cute and it's like fate or whatever. But yeah, it feels a bit insta-lovey to me, and I know who everyone's favorite boy is because I have a TikTok account. So I'm just waiting for that to happen, which I know is not going to happen in this book. But I'm so excited to read the next book, and I'm in pain that I have to read something else after this.
Tell me what you're thinking about.
Hey guys. It's almost 9 o'clock, I think. I think it's 8:30. It's 8:36. Obviously, I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but if you know, you know. The end of chapter 39, page 258. Whoa. Things are going down. I really want to finish this book tonight, but it is really, I'm so tired. So I'm gonna read for a little bit and hopefully I finish. If I don't, I'll finish it in the morning.
When tell me it's the only thing you know. Driving down the highway, moving slow.
Good morning, everybody. It's now Wednesday morning. It's like 8 a.m., just after 8 a.m. And I finished Shatter Me last night. I loved this book. This book, it was so perfectly what I needed. It's so fast-paced, so easy to read, but without sacrificing any of the like beautiful writing. I just loved the writing in this. Let me find some examples. Hate looks just like everybody else until it smiles, until it spins around and lies with lips and teeth carved into the semblance of something too passive to punch. Not even actually sure what that would means, but it's beautiful. There was one specific quote that I really wanted to read. This is on page 68. I spent my life folded between the pages of books. In the absence of human relationships, I formed bonds with paper characters. I lived love and loss through stories threaded in history. I experienced adolescence by association. Excuse me. Yes, overall, I loved this book. There's a character at the end that gets introduced. His name is Kenji. I already am in love with him. It kind of, by the end, is giving Like it's gonna kind of lead to a found family vibe, I think. The kind of love story in this book is between Juliet and a boy named Adam. I don't love Adam. Adam is just kind of giving Gail Hawthorne to me. So I'm hoping that the boy everyone loves is gonna really pop off as soon as possible. Also, yeah, I just love books where there are people that have powers. Like, not necessarily superpower vibe, like The Renegades is a really good example of that. That one kind of feels like a Marvel novel or something. But like the Natural series or the Atlas Six or something like that, like where they all have different abilities. Oh, also, this book reminds me so much of the Darkest Minds series by Alexandra Bracken. I literally watched the movie that they made of the first book, not last night, but the night before, because this book kept reminding me of it, and now I want to reread that series. I never see that series talked about on here. It's a bit older. I think I read it like during kind of my Hunger Games, Divergent, Maze Runner era when I was like 15 or something. But I highly recommend that. If you like a YA fantasy, that one's a really good one. I don't know what I'm going to rate this because I kind of want to give it 5 stars, but it doesn't feel, that feels a bit extreme. Something about it, I don't know, it's short, there's some, I don't know, it just doesn't have that 5-star feeling. So I think I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. Or maybe a 4. 4 just feels right, but I can't say why. Like I can't put my finger on anything that I didn't like about it, but I feel like it's a 4-star. I'm so excited for the rest of the series. So thank you so much, Lena, for recommending this. I'm so glad that I read this. The other option was Six of Crows, which I know everyone hypes up and loves, but this was just what I needed right now. So, okay, so I'll quickly mention where I'm at on my Kindle. I don't have a Kindle, but I have Kindle Unlimited. I just use the app on my phone. For The Right Move, I am 16% of the way through. I'm on page 67. It's getting really good. The fake dating has just kind of started. So I'm actually really excited. I think it's gonna be really good. Okay, so for this next one, I asked Taylor to pick a book for me. Her name is Taylor Core Library on Instagram, and I gave her 2 options. Mary Jane by Jessica Blau and The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. Both I've owned for a while now, this one even longer, but this one I'm more interested in and I know I'll pick it up when I'm in the right mood for it. This one, I don't know. I wanted it so badly, and then once I had it, I was like, just not picking it up. But Taylor said definitely Mary Jane. So I will finally be forced to read this because I know I'm gonna like it. Like I know I'm gonna be obsessed with it once I read it. I love a good literary fiction. I just think they're harder to pick up. Like obviously I'm gonna run and pick up a fantasy. Like a fantasy is so easy to want to read. So I have to go to work in a little bit and I have a video I want to edit right now, so I'm gonna go do that. But I will definitely bring this to work and start it today. Okay, so I've been home from work for a while now. I, came home, cleaned up, ate dinner, blah, blah, blah. It's now like 7 o'clock. I did start Mary Jane while I was at work. It's really interesting. I'm not very far. It's just so funny because it's like, so it's about Mary Jane, who is in a very conservative family. Her dad is absent pretty much, and her mom is like super strict, super conservative, super like here it is, like very conservative, not in the political sense. I don't know what they're, I mean, actually yeah, politically too, I think, but like just very, she knows what's expected of her, blah blah blah. And then she goes and nannies for this family that her mom was like, oh, it's gonna be so great, it's a doctor, you gotta be respectful. And then it turns out he is a psychiatrist and he works with people who have addictions. And I don't know what the mom does yet, I can't remember. And it's so funny because within the first, like, however much I've read, I think 50 pages, not even 30 pages, I am like the complete opposite. I grew up in the, what are they called, the cone, the cones. I grew up with the Cone family, and so it's just so funny to see it from the other way. And like, I don't know, it's just so funny. It's really good, but I am severely struggling because I really just want to read the next Shatter Me book, or like reread ACOTAR or something. Like, I don't know why, but I'm struggling very hard. I just want to read more fantasy. I'm not in my general fiction era, or literary fiction, I guess. I am definitely in my fantasy era, but I might read a little bit of this and then start editing. Okay, so it's now 8 o'clock and I said that I was just gonna read a little bit and then edit the video. I actually have read quite a bit. I kind of got sucked in and I'm on page 99. Once you're like into it, it's really good. There's a few moments where I've been like, oh my god, is it gonna be scary vibes, like something bad's gonna happen? But I think it's just gonna be kind of wholesome and cute, I hope. But I'm gonna force myself to stop and edit my video now because I kind of just want to keep going, which an hour ago I was not feeling that way. So obviously it's a good book. Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday and it is 7:08 a.m. and I'm just about to leave for work, but I read a little bit more, not much, like a few pages, and I'm starting to get nervous. I already know Miss Beanie, she needs to get out. She's causing trouble and she's very, very suspicious. And I also think it's so fascinating to see the adults through Mary Jane's eyes, because obviously you can look back and reflect, and I work with kids and I'm in psychology, and so I kind of like, I know how much kids notice already and like how much impacts them more than you would think. But like to see her noticing how Mrs. Cone is starting to like copy Sheba a little bit, who is the famous movie star that's coming to live with them, and like the eating habits and things like that, like it's just so interesting to read about. And I'm really, really enjoying it. I think I'm like just over 30% through, and I almost said Mile High. The Right Move, I think it's called. I am liking it so much more than the first one. Yeah, The Right Move. Like so much more than the first one. It makes me want to go back and rank the first one lower. I can't remember what I gave it though. I was initially concerned because I realized it was Grumpy Sunshine, and I do not like Grumpy Sunshine. But it's done really well in the way that he's not a dick. He's just kind of like a bit more closed off, a bit more cold. Like, that's fine. If you're grumpy, it translates to me as like whiny little baby, and I'm not a fan. And then the sunshine like can be kind of annoying, too far. A nice like golden retriever energy or like whatever, but it like kind of, I feel like you lose some depth in that character. But Indy is fabulous. I love her and I love Ryan. But I gotta go to work now, so I'll see you guys maybe tonight. I don't know. I can't handle this. What is happening? Why? Jimmy.
No, tell me it's the only thing you know. Holding on to something.
Okay, it's so late. I don't know, just said it's 9:30. But I just finished Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. I'm gonna go write a Storygraph review because I think I'm gonna start doing that. Sounds kind of fun now. But I will do like a full chit chat, talk about it in this video sometime tomorrow. Okay, so the lighting's terrible, but I'm getting ready to go to the city. So I'll quickly talk about this book. I just finished it last night. Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. So Taylor Core Library, Taylor, she picked this book for me. So shout out to Taylor because, did she say if she's read it? I don't think so. She hasn't said if she's read it or not, but if you haven't, go read it. That was such a good book. I do wonder if like it's partly because I related to it a lot that I liked it so much. But I've heard lots of other people say they loved it so much, so I don't think it's about that necessarily. Ignore my nails also because all of my nails peeled off except these two, so I repainted those ones, but these, anyways, doesn't matter. It was just so interesting to see what all the other characters were going through, because you see Mr. and Mrs. Cone and their relationship, and then you see Jimmy and Sheba, and Jimmy is obviously dealing with his addiction and she was dealing with that as well, like being the partner of someone who's an addict. And the writing was amazing. Her writing was so good. I don't know if she has a lot of work out, but if she does, I'm literally going to go read more of her books because I loved her writing. I loved her point of view. The ending, if you've read the book, the ending was like the perfect ending. Like obviously there were sad parts to it, but it was realistic and it was just so good. It was so good. So if you haven't read it, or if you're like me and it's been sitting on your TBR forever and you just haven't gotten to it, then this is your sign to get to it because... Okay, so now we are on to the very last book, except I'm still reading The Right Move, which I am loving. But I'll do that at the end. That'll be the last book that I talk about. The last book that I will be starting was chosen by Sadie, who is Sadie's Favorite Books on Instagram. I love her Instagram. She has the cutest little like edits. I don't know what you call it. She has the best reviews, and she just recently posted Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, like a review on it, and I own it and haven't read it yet, and it made me want to read it. So, but anyways, I asked Sadie to pick between two fantasy books. So I gave her Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer and The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. So Arch Enemies is the second book in the Renegades trilogy, I believe. I don't know if there's going to be a fourth book or not. Yeah, I think it's just a trilogy. So this is basically like a superhero book that follows this world where there's the renegades and the anarchists. The renegades are the good guys and the anarchists are the bad guys, the villains. And it follows Nova, who is a anarchist, but then she kind of goes undercover and starts infiltrating the renegades. And then the other option she had was The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I don't know anything about this really. It's a fantasy, obviously, about...
It says, when War Orphan ran Ace the KG, the Empire-wide test to find the most talented youth to learn at the academies. But being a dark-skinned peasant girl from the south is not easy at Seingard, the most elite military school in Nikan. There's so many new words. Targeted by rival classmates for her color, poverty, and gender, Rin discovers that God's long thought... I haven't read it loud in a long time. That God's long thought dead are very much alive, and that she possesses a lethal, unearthly power, an aptitude for the nearly mythical art of shamanism that could be the weapon the Empire desperately needs. While Nakar is at peace, its enemy and former occupiers, the Federation of Mugen, bides its time, and a third poppy war is just a spark away. Rin's shamanic powers may be the only way to save her people. Yeah, she discovers more about the god that has chosen her, the vengeful phoenix. She fears that winning the war may cost her humanity, and it may already be too late.
And Sadie picked this one. She said she hadn't read either of them, but that she's been wanting to read this and wanted to hear what I thought of it. So I'm so excited to start this. The only issue is I already know this is going to be phenomenal writing, if nothing else, because R.F. Kuang is a genius. And so I'm going to want to annotate it, but it literally has borderline Bible pages. If you have ever looked at a Bible, like the pages are super thin. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to annotate it. And I can't really decide what I should do about that. How long is this? Did I say that she picked this? We're reading the Poppy War. Arch Enemies is less pages, and it's like almost double Poppy War. So that shows you how thin these pages are. I have been loving The Right Move. Orion Shea is just, I can't. I enjoyed the first book of the Windy City series. But now I'm thinking, did I? Because this book is 10 times better. Honestly, indie pops off sometimes. It's way later now. It's like 8:30. I had dinner and now I'm back in bed and I'm gonna switch. Okay. I'm gonna switch to the Poppy War, but I just had to say, indie sometimes really just pops. Like, without giving any spoilers away, Brian's in some emo boy hours and he's being big self-pity boy. And Indy literally says, where is it? I don't really want to listen to this. Neither do I. I'm so glad she said that. Like, I hate when the male main character is like whiny little pity me poor baby. Pop off, Indy. Okay, it's just so weird to switch to this after reading that. But I'm gonna try.
Tell me it's the only thing you know. Driving down the highway, moving slow. Tell me it's the only thing you know.
Ew. Page 14. Like halfway down the page. Ugh. No.
Tell me it's the only thing you know.
I just wanted to say quickly, while I was thinking about it, no one writes academic stress and pain like R.F. Kuang. Same with Babel. I remember I read Babel in midterm season and I was like, wow, she really understands me. This, wow, she really understands me. Because in the first chapter, Rin, the main character, is trying to ace this test and she has to score at the top of everyone in order to go to the school that has free tuition. And yeah, so she did the exam, and then after, days later, she couldn't remember those horrible draining hours. They were a gap in her memory. When she tried to recall how she'd answered a particular question, her brain seized up and did not let her relive it. She didn't want to relive it. She never wanted to think about it again. That is really me after every exam. Obviously, her stakes are way higher than mine, but sometimes it's really easy to forget that the stakes aren't life and death like they are for Ren. Guys, I'm so sad. I just like finished doing the cleaning and everything like that, and I have about an hour until the kid I'm watching wakes up. So I was like, oh my god, an hour. I got my bag. Guess what it doesn't have in it? A book. Whatever. I guess I am not saving The Right Move for tonight. I guess we're reading it right now. Guys, I'm crying. I didn't cry, but it literally made me tear up a little bit. Possibly. So I am officially done The Right Move by Liz Tomford. I don't know what I'm gonna rate it yet. Definitely a 4 stars, at least. It might be a bit higher than that, actually. No. I don't know yet. I think probably a 4 star. There were some in like, just, there's no way to get around it. There's always something that I'm like, cringes me out a little bit. Or like, maybe not even cringy, but like cheesy or something along those lines. Like the scene that is, I've seen on TikTok before, but where she's going to Michael's and he's like, who the Michael? I'm like, oh god, it's not funny. It's just, okay. I just don't like things like that. I don't know why. But overall, I really, really liked it. Way better than the first one, to the point where it makes me want to go back and rank the first one lower. I don't remember what I gave it, but love Ryan. Love him. Now all I have left to read is The Poppy War. I'm so upset that I didn't bring it, because I actually really want to read it right now. Well, I guess I'm gonna go watch Queer Eye then. And I will read when I get home. Dang it, I could have gotten so much reading done then. Okay guys, as you can probably tell, it's getting darker out, so I'm gonna, I think, stop reading for the night. Okay, but it's really hard because I just want to keep reading. It's so good. I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of also, it's literally, I don't know why, but it's giving Divergent mixed with Throne of Glass. And I don't know if that's a bit like delulu of me to say, but I'm loving it. Because the one boy, I think I already said this, but the mysterious boy really was giving me 4 vibes. I've only had one scene with him. Like, he's not a big character, really. I mean, kind of he is, but like, anyways, it doesn't matter. I can tell how he's going to be a big character. And then the Rin, the female main character, reminds me a lot of Selena. Oh my god. But not in a way that I can like put my finger on how. I think she just like doesn't take shit in the same way that Selena doesn't. And then also because it's all like martial arts and things like that, it's reminding me of the Silent Assassins in Throne of Glass. So it's just so fun. I just had a thought that I wanted to share. So on the back of the book, it literally tells you like that Rin is a war orphan. She gets into Synagard. She gets targeted by her classmates for her color, poverty, and gender. Rin discovers that the gods long thought dead are alive. She discovers more about the god that has chosen her, the vengeful phoenix. Why would you tell us that? I'm just now learning about the phoenix on page 178. I just wish, like, the tortoise situation, without spoiling anything. I just, like, there's another character that I think is, like, somewhat related or, like, associated with the tortoise or the gatekeeper. And it's so fun, like, trying to think, like, oh my god, maybe, like, is this related? Is this not? Like, and it's so fun. And I wish that I didn't know that Rin was, like, that the phoenix was real and, or alive, and was gonna choose Rin and, like, whatever. I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand. If we're not gonna get it in the first, like, 150 pages, even if we're not gonna get it in the first 100 pages, I don't want to hear about it on the back. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, to be this far in, I don't know. Because she has exhibited some, like, magic vibes, some, like, supernatural powers. But even that wasn't until page 152. So I'm like, I just feel like it would be more fun to be able to put the pieces together yourself. This is delicious. The cherry slush flavor of the Alani Nu is so good. It literally tastes like a 7-Eleven cherry Slurpee, which is not the flavor I pick ever, but it's very good. It actually kind of tastes like when all the flavors mix together.
Tell me it's the only thing you know. Driving down the highway, moving slow. Tell me.
I also love Jiang, who is the, like, the lore professor. Are they even called professors? Masters? It's in one ear, out the other sometimes. I really am concerned for myself. But everyone calls him Jiang. And he is the lore master. And he, in their first year, everyone has to take his class, but he never shows up. So they just stop going because he literally just doesn't teach anything. But then he starts teaching Rin, and he's, like, super eccentric and weird, and, like, he's just so fun and funny and wild, and I'm loving him. I love when he's in the scenes. Also, I really don't know what this other boy, the boy who I said reminded me of 4. I also want to be clear, this does not give Divergent vibes in, like, how it's written or the, like, atmosphere of it. I just literally, like, there's just something about it that kind of triggered a little Divergent memory in the back of my 12-year-old brain from when I was obsessed with that series. But I don't want you thinking that this is going to be like reading Divergent, because it's not. It's really not. Anyways, I'm getting distracted. Stop distracting me, you guys. Gosh. Okay, I made it to part 2. I am finding this so interesting. I have never, I think, ever read a book like this. I've never read, not only obviously the subject matter and the things that I'm learning about, I know nothing about. And some of it is easily translatable, like the strategy class. I love. I don't think we'll get any more scenes of those, but in Rin's first year, seeing the strategy class was so interesting to me, and it was literally basically philosophy, which I hate philosophy, but the way that it's done in here is really fun. It's not philosophy. Anyways, whatever. Delete everything I just said, because I don't even know what the point of that was. I just feel like I've never read a book with a female main character like this, and I love it. I said earlier that she reminded me of Selena, which is not really how I feel anymore. There are certain things, like in the beginning when she would have these moments where she just didn't take shit, it did remind me of Selena. Have I even said who Selena is, or am I just assuming that you guys all know who that is? It's the female main character in Sarah J. Maas's Throne of Glass series. Okay, so sorry, that was so rude of me. But she's one of my favorite female main characters ever. Why am I saying that? She's one of my favorite main characters ever. Why am I adding the female? That's very internalized misogyny of me, I think. What was I even saying? Oh yeah, I feel like so often the author is just trying to make you love the main character, and I don't feel like that in this. I feel like it's a very real and human depiction of Rin, and maybe it's just because I don't relate to her in the way she thinks that I feel like maybe if you think the same way as her, or you would feel the same way if you were in her situation, then you would just love her. But like, it's so interesting to read about Rin, who some parts of her I love and I wish I had, and then some parts of her I'm like, what is going on? Like, why you need to let go of that? Like, why are you holding on to that? And like, 'cause I guess it's just that I am nothing like Rin, and I would not, like, the very end of part 1 would never be me. Like, she says in the beginning, or like somewhere in here, it talks a lot about praise and academic validation. But then now at this part, I'm like, real, like, are you? Or like, I don't know. I just feel like her ego is playing such a role that I wasn't expecting, and not in a way that I dislike. It's just like so interesting to read. But yeah, I'm about to start chapter 10, which is page 219. I'm gonna stop though and take a break. And I regret that I don't have the next books already, because I already know it's gonna be a cliffhanger. And I already know also, because I can't remember if I said this also, but I was looking up a playlist to listen to, and so I just looked up Poppy War on Spotify, and I saw Rin and someone else's name, and I know, so like obviously I'm guessing that's like a romance that's gonna happen. There is no even hint of romance so far, and I don't think there's going to be in this book. There is kind of a, I don't know. I was gonna say there's kind of a found family, but there's not really. It's really just Rin and Kate, who has like become really close, and he's so sweet. I love him. And even him, like, there are times where I don't like it, where it shows the like annoying things where she finds it hard to argue with him for too long, because he just is like so sure of himself that he's not willing to see blah blah blah, whatever. Like, it shows the bad things and the good things of everyone. No one is idolized in this book. I don't know, do you know what I'm trying to say? I just feel like I've never, same with Babel, it's just R.F. Kuang. She really writes the most human characters, especially for a fantasy novel. Like, it's just so good. And I'm becoming a shaman, so don't worry about it, guys. I'm gonna go eat lunch and chill, and maybe I'll read some more before work, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Bye. Oh, I did have one thing to say. Starting around page 293, I'm starting to get a strong found family vibe. All of the characters that she meets around that page, she goes somewhere else and she meets a bunch of new characters. And I love all of them, except one that we already knew. I'm not sure. I'm thinking that him and Jang are like two different ends of the spectrum, and then Rin's gonna kind of have to find her way in the middle. I don't know. That's all I'll say because I don't want to spoil too much. I mean, it's not a spoiler because I don't know if any of that's true. I'm just getting a weird vibe from one of the characters. I am 61% through the Poppy War. Oh my god. Guys, I am unwell. It's 9:15 and I was like, at like maybe 8, I sat down, had breakfast, and I was like, let me just read a little bit like before I get ready. The fact that I have to go to work today, why could I not have been at this part yesterday when I didn't have to work? Like, what I read yesterday was good, but it was a lot more like, I don't know. This is so good right now. It's so good. But I have to get ready and to go. I might cry. I feel like I'm gonna hyperventilate. I'm on page 352 and I think I have to stop here because I feel unwell. And if I read any more, I actually wish I stopped before this. So obviously it's very like politic heavy, military, like war heavy. But it's done in such a way that's still interesting, and then it makes the moments that are my favorites so much more like intense and like impactful and like what you've been waiting for, like the interpersonal relationship type stuff, the found family type stuff. It's fully found family at this point, I think, unless something goes really bad. It's already going bad, which I saw coming a mile away. But anyways, like, I can't say anything. I don't know how to talk about it without spoiling it. But like, I love the interpersonal stuff, the relationships, the conversations, the little like intricacies of relationships between people. And when you finally get a scene like around page 350-ish to 352, it like is so much more like, it's just one little scene, but because it's been so much of war and how Rin is gonna summon this god, like, I don't know, I hope that makes any sense. I just love the I just can't. I'll just say that the part that I just read was fully the who did this to you trope. He didn't say who did this to you because he knew. And the playlist is starting. The playlist is starting to make more sense now. What a 360. Wow. Okay, I gotta go. And this time, I'm not gonna forget it. Let me actually put this in my bag right now because this is not being forgotten again. Okay. I haven't felt this way in like a long time. And I've been enjoying the book so far, but it's not been like game changing. And this is what I mean when I say I want like a slow burn fantasy romance. Like, I wasn't even sure if there was gonna be a romance. And I still, I guess, don't technically know, but like as soon as this scene started happening, I just feel like giddy. Like, I just can't even, I'm not sure what's happening to me. Okay, I gotta go. I just gotta go.
Don't know if I'm friend or foe, but I guess I'll come to find when it's time. Shattered glass still shine when the sun is high. Don't know if if I'm friend or foe, but I guess I'll come to find.
Okay guys, it's now the next day. I finished the Poppy War. I still have not stopped thinking about it. I feel still ill. And I've never had this like feeling before where I actually don't know if I want to read the next one because I'm just so scared. I've never been so scared to read the next book in a series that I enjoyed so much. I'm just scared that one character is gonna lose their humanity too much, and pretty much everything I saw online said that yeah, that's gonna happen. So overall I gave it 5 stars, obviously. I had to give it 5 stars. The world that she builds is so complex. Okay. So the world that R.F. Kuang builds is so intense and like multi-layered and like just insane that I don't understand. And this is what I thought when I read Babel too. I was like, how smart is this woman? Like, she must have done so much research for Babel. But anyways, we're not here to talk about Babel. But if you read this, go read, and you liked it, go read Babel. This is 5 stars, Babel's 6, okay, for me. I liked Babel more. There were some parts that were too complex and weren't explained in a way that I could fully understand what was happening. I think I mentioned it earlier, but the whole hexagram situation, yeah, I really don't, not sure about that. I understand the prophecy that came out of that, but the actual like what was happening there, I really don't know. Yeah, so also I saw people saying that this is enemies to lovers, and then I saw other people saying there's no romance in here whatsoever, like not even a crumb. I already felt like there was a little bit of romance in here, but I think I also already said this. When there's so much politics and like heavy military talk and strategy talk and all these things, the little crumbs that you get of like it just of like one character just being human and being nice to another human, I'm like, so they're in love. like it just means so much more when you finally get those little moments, because they're not the entire book, they're few and far between. I know at the beginning I was like, why doesn't anyone say this is academia? It's not. I'll tell you right now, like the school is probably like 200 pages. I would say, oh, I guess until part 1, the end of part 1. And then part 2 and 3 is all, it all blows up from there. I do think I'm gonna get the 2nd and 3rd book today when I'm in the city, and I'll read those. I just have to know if what everyone is saying is true and what I fear is true, then how is it still enjoyable is what I want to know. Like, I want to know, is the found family element built even more and more? Like through in the first part, it's really you only like Rin and Kitae and Jiang. The rest you're like hate them. But then she goes somewhere else and she meets a bunch of people, and it's very found family vibes. It's very sweet, and Ramza is so sweet. I love Ramza. Kara, if you read this book, Kara is one of the characters. Okay, I won't say anything. I really can't say anything without spoiling it, but Kara really reminds me of Nezrin from Throne of Glass. This book does really remind me of Throne of Glass, actually. More like Kingdom of Ash, when there's so much war going on. I feel like that's kind of the vibes of this, but anyways. I really can't say anything else without spoiling it. I literally went and hunted down someone who has read this book on Instagram because I just needed to know. So a big shout out to Sadie for recommending or for picking The Poppy War. I think she said she hasn't read it yet, so I will let her know to immediately go read it. But yeah, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who was down to participate in this video. Everyone that I've mentioned is just like the sweetest, kindest people, and they make great content, so go check them out. Let them know that I sent you. Yeah, so thank you guys for participating, and thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope if you take anything from this video, I was gonna say read The Poppy War, but there were so many good books in this video. There were so many good, I think every book I read I literally loved. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if there's any books you want to watch me read, or if you have any videos that you would like to see from me. I'm always down to read new books and try new videos. DM me on Chanel's Library and we can talk about books, these books in this video, any book you're reading. I love talking about books, obviously. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.